Welcome everyone. I'm going to show you how I built this desk for myself out of 3/4 inch maple plywood and 2x2s from my local home center. Start by breaking down the 4x8 sheet here into two 4x4 sheets, and that just makes everything a lot more manageable. And I only need the half a sheet to build this project anyway. Using the table saw here to rip the 4x4 sheet into its respective sizes. I take one of these halves and actually rip that in half as well. And that gives me the 3 shelves plus the case bottom, which I'm laying out here with a straight edge. And then I'll cross cut these with a circular saw. Used pocket holes to put the case together, and I'm laying out the holes for the shelf pins. I don't own a shelf pin jig, so I'm just going to use the drill press here to make these holes. They're 1/2 inch deep, and I'm going to use a 3/8 drill bit. Here's the case laid out, ready for assembly. Now I'm laying out the lengths for my legs with 2x2s, and I'll cut these to length at the miter saw. Using Titebond original and 1¼ pocket screws to assemble the shelf sides to the desktop. Here's a different angle of that so you can see how this works. Now the shelf bottom wanted to slide around pretty good on me, so when I did the other side I put a couple spring clamps in there. It works really nice as kind of a second set of hands for you when you're working by yourself. Using the bandsaw to resaw some of these 2x2s, which I'm going to use for the trim. Sold Delta bandsaw, has a brand new blade on it, and it works absolutely great. I'm cutting those trim lengths at the miter saw. Laying out the half laps for the legs, which I'm going to cut out here at the bandsaw as well. And just showing those came out really nice. Now I'm going to sand everything. Start with 80 grit to get all these surface marks and everything else from the manufacturer taken care of. I'm going to move up to 120 grit here, and I'm using some toolbox liner. This works really well for keeping your parts from scooting around on you. I'm just going to work everything through the grits here. Then when I get to the desk itself, I'm only using 220. The plywood's pretty smooth from the factory, but this just cleans it up a little bit more. Showing how I label my parts here, so when I put the trim pieces on later, I don't get anything mixed up. Then I do come back and break these edges with some hand sanding on a 220 block. Here's all the trim and legs laid out ready for staining. I'm going to use this Varathane dark walnut stain. Stuff works really well. Just wipe it on with a rag, let it sit for a little bit, and wipe the excess off. Now I'm laying out the hole location so I can pre-drill for the screws. I'm going to come back later, actually remove the screws and pin these joints with dowels, just to add some visual contrast, and so you won't see any visible fasteners. So I just want to make sure that I had these evenly spaced. I'm using a spring punch to give my drill bit a place to set so it doesn't walk on me. This just ensures that I've got these locations absolutely spot on. Using a small drill bit here to give myself a pilot hole for all the legs. Then I'm going to attach using some more wood glue and pocket screws. Now when I attach the legs to the top here, you'll see that they're only into the trim. I come back a little bit later and I put in some blocks just so that I have more contact area. I didn't want to put too much stress on this trim since it's only attached with glue and brad nails like you see here for the face frame. 18 gauge brad nails, pretty standard. They hide okay, especially with this darker color on the wood. Attaching the trim to the top of the desk. I'm using blue tape to mask off the area, and that just helps with the glue squeeze out. It gives you less to worry about cleaning up later. Gives you just kind of a nice crisp line. So here's those blocks I was talking about. They're just attached with CA glue and then a spring clamp until the glue sets up. And this is, again, just so that there's more mechanical advantage. Now I'm taking the screws out, drilling the hole out to 3/8 and pinning with a dowel. For the top legs, you can see I kind of blew the top out there, just not enough room to really work, so I just countersunk the screws and then came back and capped them with dowels. It's too cold in the shop right now to apply clear coat, so I brought the desk inside and applied 4 coats of a water-based polyurethane. And here's the desk in its final location. Got a few other things that I need to do with it. I'm going to add a power strip and build a little lamp, but this is where the desk is going to live, so I can keep all of my various drawing stuff here. Thanks for watching.